Hello and welcome to episode 39 of the Catherine Crochets podcast. Hi everyone, it's great to be back. It's been a few months since I last podcast now. I had a bit of a break over the summer here for the school holidays, but the girls are back at school now and I'm really excited to be back filming another podcast to share with you today, talking about all the crochet projects I've been working on over the last few months. I should probably introduce myself. I'm Catherine. I'm a crochet designer from just south of London in the UK, and I mainly like to design blanket patterns but also accessories and some other homeware items as well. I'll pop links below for all the places where you can find me, so you can browse my patterns on Etsy or Ravelry if you'd like to. I've got an email list which you're very welcome to sign up to, where I send out monthly newsletters, discounts, that kind of thing. And I'm also on Instagram and Facebook as well, so I'll put links to all of that below if you want to follow me. I'm a bit more active on all of those things than YouTube, so if you're relying on YouTube to keep up with me, I will podcast as much as I can, but it's not quite as frequently as I share things on those other platforms. So do have a look at those if you want more up-to-date news. How are you all? I hope your summers or winters have been well, depending on where you are in the world. We've had a really nice summer here. It's been quite busy with lots of travels, some short breaks, and we had a longer holiday in Austria as well, which was lovely. But as I said, it is really nice now the girls are back at school and I can feel I can dive back in to all the crochet things that I want to be getting on with. I had a quick look at the last podcast, which was back in June, to see what I shared with you last time to make sure I don't double up. And I've done quite a few things since then, as you can imagine, because it's been a few months. So I'm just going to crack on and show you what I've got to share today. So first up, this is just going to be a quick one because I've spoken about it quite a bit previously on the podcast, but since the last podcast I released my Nephele blanket pattern, which if you've seen it before, if you remember, it is a square baby blanket with this ring of puffy white clouds around the edge, which are made using front post stitches to give them a sort of bit of extra puffy texture, and the intarsia crochet technique, and then it's got this ribbed border at the edge to finish it off. It's made with an Aran weight wool yarn. You could use acrylic if you prefer. It's Hobby Friends wool, I believe. I should probably check, but I'll pop a link to the pattern below if you'd like to get it, and yeah, all the details about the yarn that I used and how much are there. But yeah, you're free to substitute for other Aran yarns if you prefer. And this is so that's the Nephele blanket. So that's quite a short and sweet thing to share with you first of all, but like I said, I have chatted about it before, so I don't want to go into too much detail repeating myself. So everything else is new, I think. I hadn't started working on it previously, so it's all new projects I've done since the last podcast. So next up is a bag, and this was a pattern test for my friend Carmen from Off the Hook Creative, and she's designed a new baby blanket called the Darling Dots baby blanket. I mean, it doesn't have to be for baby, obviously. You could make it full-size throw if you wanted to. And I tested, this is the square for the pattern, and for the test we didn't need to necessarily make a whole blanket. If we didn't have time, it was fine to just make a few squares and join them, and we could turn them into something else. So I made 8 squares and decided to turn them into this this little bag. What can I say about it? It's a really fun square to make. So you start off with this spiral of UK double crochet, I think it was, and then you've got these rings of berry stitch, which was really fun, and then you finish off later on in the square with these, can't remember what you call them now, they're like twisted stitches that cross over each other, cross something or other. But yeah, it's a really fun square to make, and you can have a lot of fun because there's two main colours for the dot in each square, so you can have quite a lot of fun, I think, playing around with different colours on your blanket. It would be a really good stash buster as well if you had some stash you wanted to get through and use up. The yarn I used for mine is Serdar Hayfield Bonus DK, which is a DK acrylic yarn, and I thought, as it's a test and I was just planning on making something quite small, I'd go a bit outside of my comfort zone in terms of colours. I normally tend towards the blues and greens as my preferred colours to use, so I thought instead of that I'll go for a kind of retro 70s brown, orange and yellow vibe, which isn't something I'd usually go for at all, but it was really fun to make something in a colour palette that I wouldn't usually choose. It was just felt completely different and fresh, and rather than doing it in my normal colours, it was just, yeah, it was really good to do that, and I'm really happy with how the bag finished off. I joined them using the method in the pattern, which, oh, it's got a really good join as well, the squares. I think it's a slip stitch, but it might be called like a cross slip stitch, I can't remember, but it gives this really nice, and if you can see it, this nice raised join, but different to like if you do a double crochet, UK double crochet or US single crochet join. It's kind of symmetrical, it's not like, it looks both same from on both sides. But yeah, really nice join. So I joined it all according to the pattern, and then I just joined the two panels quite simply around the edge to make a bag, and did some UK double crochet round and round the top with a bit of a gap to make a handle. Yeah, so it's quite a cute little bag, so I'm really pleased with that. And that's the Darling Dots blanket pattern from Off the Hook Creative, and I'll pop a link to it below if you'd like to make one too. So last time I mentioned, I think, that I was thinking about making another Superstars blanket, and I have done that now and it's all finished. So the Superstars blanket is a pattern, it's my own pattern, it's my own design that I designed a few years ago now, and I always thought it would, when I designed it, I picked the colours carefully and bought the yarn especially for it, but I always thought, and lots of people have done it, as a great stash busting project, because the blanket, I'll hold up the new one I've made so you can see, it's lots of hexagons, and each hexagon has a star in the middle, and then they're all joined together. So if you had lots of different colours that you wanted to use up, you don't need much yarn for each star, so it does lend itself to being a really good stash buster. So I had some stash to bust and decided to remake this pattern with this blanket to use up the stash that I had. It's finished in that all of the crochet is now done, but I haven't sewn in any ends yet, so this is the back where I've still got all the ends to sew in. So I'm not sure, I was wondering this the other day, when you finish the crochet but not sewn in the ends, is it still a whip, or is there another category that it can go in before it's technically or completely a finished object? I feel like there should be some kind of intermediate position that you can call your projects when you finished all the crochet but still have the ends to sewn in. So I made this again with like the bag I just showed you. I made this with Serdar's Hayfield Bonus DK yarn, which is really soft and nice to work with, and I had quite a lot of it, so I had quite good fun choosing which colours to use for my stars. I did do, so in the pattern I suggest using 7 colours, because what that means is that you can have, if you use it at least seven minimum, it means you never have to have 2 stars next to each other that are the same colour, because each hexagon is surrounded by 6 other hexagons. So 1 plus 6 is 7, as I'm sure you know, and that means then you don't have to have any of the same colour side by side. So I went for 7 again. I had enough. I was fortunate in this stash. I had enough. I mean, you don't use much of each colour, but I had enough to just use 7 colours for the blanket, so I could do them as well in the same arrangement as the original blanket, which is all sort of worked out to get a kind of, it's in the pattern, but it gives you a kind of even distribution of colours across your blanket, about the same number of each colour and sort of nicely spaced, and as I said, no two the same side by side. So yeah, I chose my 7 colours. I had just about enough cream yarn to do the background. One thing I did do is, so in the original pattern, once you've finished it, you join the hexagons as you go, then you go all the way around the edge with a round of UK double crochet in the background colour, which I did, and then you're also supposed to do a round of UK treble crochet, so US double crochet, in the same background colour, but I didn't have enough cream left at that point to do that round as well, so I just went straight into my border colour, which was the green. Spent quite a long time trying to decide what colour to go for the border. I didn't want, like, this is a very pretty colour, but I thought it was a bit pale for the border. I wanted something that would pop a bit more. So in the end, I'd narrowed it down to green and red, and I'd asked around, I think on Instagram and to my email list subscribers as well, if anyone had any ideas of what they thought would be the best colour to go with. And I was also sharing at the same time, when I was talking about this, to my email list subscribers, that we'd recently been on holiday to Austria earlier this summer. And one of my subscribers replied, and he said, because he's got family from Austria, so he knows it quite well, that as a memory of the holiday, why not do it in red, because the Austrian flag is red and white. So I quite like that idea, and I do really love this red. It's called, I think it's just called soft red. It's coming out a bit dark and bolder perhaps on the camera, but it is a slightly soft red, not pink at all, but just slightly softer than a bold bright red, and I do really like it. But I started off with a bit of red to see how it would look, and it was just a bit too much. So then I decided to go for the green, and I was also told that green is also still extremely Austrian, because lots of the regions, I'm not sure what they call them, whether they're each area or state maybe, I don't know, they all have their own flags, and lots of those are green and white, so any out of green, white and red are very Austrian colours. So I went with green, and it still ties in with the link to our Austrian holiday. And I was really pleased how the green looked when I started using that for the border. I think it's just a nice balance. It's dark enough and bold enough to frame it really well. So yeah, so instead of the first round of UK trebles being cream as it is in the original pattern, in this one, because it's a stash buster and didn't have quite enough, it's green. I started on the green, and then there should have been a few more rounds, I think a couple more rounds of it, but I didn't have enough because I was stash busting, so I finished it off. So it's a slightly narrower border than in my original pattern, and I haven't blocked this yet, so it's curling a little bit, not too bad though, but I still think it looks great. I'm quite happy with that. It's not too thin. I think the width of the border is good. So yeah, that's the finished Superstars blanket, which I've started and finished since the last podcast. The other difference, which I should mention, between my original Superstars blanket, as in the original pattern, and this new one, is that I've joined the hexagons slightly differently. So in the original pattern, the hexagons are just joined at each corner and in the middle of each side. So they'd be joined 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, will be 12 times all the way around the hexagon. Whereas here, what I've done this time is a sort of solid continuous join. So it's joined, if I pull it, you can see it's joined all the way along all the edges and at the corners of each hexagon. It gives this, the way I've done it, it gives this kind of like slightly raised honeycomb join, but I quite like that. But also what it also means is obviously when you're draping the blanket about, you don't get kind of gaps gaping between the points where you join your hexagons. So I have today re-released my Superstars blanket pattern, and compared to the actual pattern, the instructions for the hexagons are all the same. There's just nothing's been changed. Everything that was originally in there is still in there, but I've added some new things. So I've added instructions for this alternative join, which I've called it the solid join because it sort of joins it solidly all the way around. So I've added instructions for that. I've called the original joining method the quick join because it's slightly quicker because you don't join in so many places. I've also added links to 2 video tutorials, one for each of the 2 different joining methods that I filmed the other week, and they're all up on my YouTube channel, so you can watch those whenever you want anyway without the pattern. And then the other thing that I've added to the pattern, which is the thing I'm most excited about, is a colouring sheet. Because if you're stash busting and you're using, or if you're just using a different number of colours to 7, which is what's suggested in the pattern, it can be quite hard, and you're joining as you go, so it's nice to have a plan, I think, before you start, of exactly what colours you're going to put where. So I've included a colouring sheet in the pattern, so you can colour it in, you can print it as many times as you want, and you can colour in all the stars and work out what colours you want to put where on your blanket to make sure you get it all distributed nicely. So if you don't yet have a copy of the Superstars blanket pattern and you would like one, I'll pop a link to download it below, and you will get the new updated pattern with all of those extras, the new joining method, the links to the extra video tutorials, and the colouring sheet. If you had previously bought the Superstars blanket pattern, if you bought it on Ravelry, you'll have got a message has been sent to everyone who bought it there, and you can just go onto Ravelry and download the updated pattern if you'd like it with those extra bits. If you bought it on Etsy, unfortunately there's no way in Etsy to just contact people, all previous buyers, and tell them that sort of thing. So if you did and you would like the updated pattern, just send me an email, hello@catherinecrochets.com, with your order details, and I'll send you the updated pattern by email. But yeah, that's been a really fun project to work on over the summer. One of the reasons why I started it, which I mentioned last time I think, was that because it's made of small motifs, it's not the sort of blanket that you're sitting under all the time when it's really hot. Earlier in the year I started work on the canal boat blanket, and that I haven't touched at all summer because it got to the size that while I was working on it I had to be sitting under it with it on my lap. I suppose I could have done it at a table, but that's not where I was when I was working on it. So I thought I'd start this one, and apart from the final round of each hexagon where you join it onto the other hexagons, and obviously when you do the border as well, the rest of the time you're just working on a single hexagon motif at any one time, and so it's not hot work. So it was a really fun summer project, and I really like as well the suggestion that I got to go for green or red for the border and tie it in to our Austrian holiday this year. So yeah, that's a Superstars blanket, and you can get the pattern now. So I've got one other project to share with you today, and this one is a work in progress, and properly a work in progress. It's got crochet needed still, not just ends sewing in, and I think I mentioned it last time, I can't remember actually, but I hadn't started it, and it's not my design at all. This is the Astrid Shawl, or scarf, I can't remember what it's called. You could call it or use it either. And this is a design from Lilla Bjorn Crochet, and it is made with a short row technique, which is a completely new technique to me in crochet. I've not used it before, so rather than working all the way along and back again, you kind of do lots of little mini short rows going, and you sort of do a long one, back a little bit, then a longer one, back a little bit, a long one and back a little bit, until you get to the end, and then turn around and do the same thing all the way back. So if I hold it a bit closer, you can see there, you can see the texture a bit better there. Can you see all the sort of zigzaggy V pattern? So all the stitches are done in the back loop only, which gives it this really nice texture. It also makes it, I think it's due to the stitches, quite stretchy. Can you see? It's got quite a bit of stretch to it, in not so much that way, a bit that way, but especially sort of lengthwise. But I'm absolutely loving working on it. The pattern is for a sport weight yarn, I think, but the way it's written is it's like repeat this until it's a certain size, and then keep going. So you could use any weight yarn you wanted really, and just literally still follow the pattern as written. You just do however many, you just keep doing the increases or the straight bit or whatever until it measures whatever size you want it to be. So right now I started at this corner here, and I've gone I've done all the increases, and then I've just done, you can't really tell because I've only done a few rows without any increases. So then you have, so you increase, the bottom is straight, the top edge, which is drooping over, is where the increases are. Then you have a middle section where there's no increases or decreases, so it's just this width for a bit, and then you do the decreases. But yeah, I'm really enjoying working on this, and yeah, you do need to count a bit, especially when you're doing the turning at the end. But when you're just doing the zigzaggy bit back and forwards to get all the way from one end to the other, it's not, there's not too much counting. It's quite easy really, so you can remember what you're doing. The yarn I'm using is, I had 2 balls. That's the yarn I've been using so far, the first ball, and then so it's nearly done, and then I've got a second ball. It's 100 grams each. It's from Lay Family Yarn, and it's called Wonderland Walks, and it's a colourway that was designed or created by Ali from Little Drops of Wonderful. And I bought 2 balls because I thought one wouldn't be enough for a shawl, and I didn't just want to make socks with it. But I bought it a while ago, and I knew I wanted to make a shawl. Initially I started making up my own design, but it wasn't turning out quite how I wanted. I had the pattern for the Astrid Shawl. Oh, the ball's just fallen on the floor. I had the pattern for the Astrid Shawl in my Q1 Ravelry. It was something I'd been wanting to make for ages, so I thought, why not just use this yarn to make this shawl? And I think it's a really good match for it, because there's sort of all the colours in the green, and this texture in this shawl, I think it really looks like sort of, obviously quite regular, but it looks really mossy, like the sort of moss you'd get on a like at the bottom of a tree in a forest. And I think that's really apt, given the name of the yarn is Wonderland Walks. But yeah, I'm really happy with this, really enjoying it, and hopefully it'll be finished. I mean, we're still at the beginning of September now, so hopefully I'll finish it off, at least to enjoy it this winter, if not this autumn. But also it's been my kind of portable project this summer as well. So when we've been off to different places, I started it when we went to Austria in July, and then we've been away a few other times this summer, just on short breaks in the UK, seeing friends and family, and it's come with me because it's nice and small and easy to work on. Also, when we were on the plane, because it's just one ball of yarn, one big continuous project. I didn't need to have any scissors or anything like that. I could literally just take the project and a crochet hook, and that was fine in hand luggage on the plane, which was good. So yeah, I've really enjoyed working on that over the summer, and hopefully I'll get it finished off in the next couple of months maybe. I've got other things on the go as well, so we'll see how much time I get to spend on it. But yeah, that's the Astrid Shawl. So that's it in terms of crochet projects to share with you today, but I have got a bit of new yarn to show you, including these 2 balls. So right at the end of the summer holidays, my husband and I went to Hamburg for a few days, and my parents were kindly looking after my 2 daughters. They had them to stay for a bit. They had lots of fun. We had a lovely time in Hamburg too, and part of the we chose Hamburg because the flight times were good. We could get there from a London airport quite easily at a reasonable time of day, and also because I actually used to live in Hamburg when I was in my early 20s, and I haven't been back since. So I was only there for 18 months. So I got to know it quite well in 18 months. It's a decent amount of time, but it wasn't ages and ages. But I haven't been back since, and we'd always said it'd be nice to go back one day and revisit it. So my husband, he used to visit me quite often while I was in Hamburg, so he knew it a bit as well. But obviously he didn't live there, so he didn't know all of it as well as I did. Not that I didn't know all of it, but we went back at the end of August for a few days and had a really nice time looking around. We saw quite a few new places that I hadn't seen, because Hamburg's actually a really, really big city, and there's whole areas of it, mainly the I don't know, more expensive, nicer areas that I just hadn't explored at all when I was in my early 20s. And so it was really nice to go back, see some new things, but there were also areas that I did know quite well that we went back to. It's got a massive port, so we had a look around there again. I knew that quite well, and it's on a river as well, so we had a really nice walk along the river, which was a walk I used to do quite a lot, sort of going out of the city. And we wandered around the lakes in the middle of the city too. It's quite a watery city. It's really, really lovely. Apparently it's got more bridges than Venice, so yeah, it's surprisingly watery, but it is really nice. I'd recommend visiting if you ever get the chance. While we were there, also went to a yarn shop. When I lived in Hamburg in my 20s, I wasn't knitting or crocheting at all then, so I would never have thought to have looked for yarn shops. I don't know if this yarn shop was there then, or if it was 20 years ago when I was there, so it could well have not even been there. But we went, and I thought it would be nice to buy some yarn as a souvenir of our trip, and so I bought these 2 balls, and they had yarn from all over, well, definitely from lots of different European countries, including the UK, and they had yarn from America, mainly sort of smaller yarn companies, not the massive ones. But I thought there's no point in me going all the way to Hamburg and then buying yarn from a UK company. It just felt wrong. So I thought I'll try and buy some from a German company. I didn't have particular projects in mind, so I do a bit of knitting, but I started something. I'm a slow knitter, really slow knitter, and the yarns in this shop, they were really nice yarns, so you know, they weren't the cheapest, so it's really lovely to look at them all. But there's no point just buying some expensive yarn if you don't know what you're going to make with it. So in the end, I decided I do knit socks slowly, but I do knit them. So I decided to buy some sock yarn, and I got this Zauberball from Shoppal, which is it changes colour as you knit it, so I thought that would be quite fun to turn into socks. And then I also got this colour, which just because I really liked it, and it's not a colour I could really wear, but I think for socks you can just choose a colour because you like it, can't you? You don't have to, it's nowhere near your face, so I'm looking forward to doing that. That's also from Shoppal as well, that yarn. don't know if it's got a colour name. I don't think it does, it's just got a number. But it'd probably be in German anyway, wouldn't it? Even if it did. They are supposedly, it says that they need the same hook size, but I don't know if you can see. This one looks much thicker than this one, so I don't know. Does anyone know? Is that like a Zauberball thing that it's thicker? Don't know, because it's, you can see quite a lot of it's 2 strands twisted, and I think it's 2 strands of this weight twisted together. I'm not sure. Maybe they just are the same thickness and it's a kind of illusion. But if anyone knows, do let me know if I need to watch out for this one and perhaps it's thicker. But yeah, looking forward to one day making some socks with that yarn from our trip to Hamburg. And the other yarn that I have to show you, I have in here, and this is some new yarn which I've acquired from Serda. And it is it's quite new, I think it's new out this year. It's their Loveful yarn, and it's 100% recycled tweed blend. It is 40% recycled wool, 40% recycled polyester, and 20% recycled acrylic. And yeah, it's the tweedy one. There's also a Loveful one, I think it's a slightly different content of fibres, but there's also a Loveful one that isn't tweedy, but I really like, well, you can see it's got these like little pink and blue and yellow flecks in it. So I've got a few balls of this colour, which is called Birch, a sort of colourful confetti bestowed birch. And then I've also got some in this tweedy blue tweed, which is called Pool, and some in what's this one called? It's a sort of maroon colour. I've got the colour name on this label. Yeah, it should be on the end. Let's see, I've got another ball. No, that one's not got it either. That's strange, isn't it? I'm not sure what that one's called, but it's not a massive range of colours, so if you wanted it, I'm sure you could work out which one it is from the range. But yeah, so I've got all of those, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to design a new hat. Turns out this wasn't the plan from the start, but it turns out each of the last 2 winters I've released a beanie pattern, and mainly I design blankets, but I do design some accessories as well, like beanies and shawls and things, mittens. And so last winter I released a beanie pattern called the Lighten Up beanie. That was a tapestry crochet design, and the winter before I released the Down the Line beanie, which was a brioche crochet beanie, which I really loved it. It's my only brioche crochet design, but it was so fun to make, and I was really happy how that one worked out, and it's actually been one of my best selling patterns as well, which was a bit of a surprise because previously it had mainly been blankets, so it was a surprise to have a hat pattern doing so well. Obviously a nice surprise. So, but I thought I'd keep with the pattern and design and release another winter hat pattern this year, and providing I still keep having ideas, maybe it will be like an annual thing. So I'm going to make one design, but I'm going to make it, I've got twice as much of the birch as I have of the maroon and the blue, so I'm going to make it one version. It's going to be a colourwork pattern. I'm going to make one version with the birch and the maroon, and then the same pattern but in the birch and the blue. So I'm going to start work on that soon. I've got the ideas in my head. I think I need to do some swatching of the colourwork pattern first before I just dive in and make the hat, which is tempting to do, but I think it would be worth it to check out the colourwork pattern first before I'm doing it in a whole hat. It'll just be quicker to see if I'm happy with how it's looking. But yeah, I'm hoping to get that done, designed over the next few weeks, and then released in time for people to make it in the Northern Hemisphere for the coming winter if they'd like to. Yeah, so that's about all of my news for today. It's been really lovely catching up with you, or catching you up with everything that I've been working on. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I really appreciate everyone who tunes in to have a watch and hear what I've been up to. Do let me know in the comments if you've enjoyed it, where you've been watching from, what you've been working on while you watch it, or just recently over the summer or over the winter, depending on where you are. And as I said, the girls are back at school now, so hopefully I'll get back into not crocheting, I always crochet. Hopefully I'll get back into podcasting a bit more regularly again now they're back at school. But thank you for watching, happy crocheting, and I will see you again next time. Bye bye.